Alright, peace and greetings, YouTubers. So welcome to another edition of In the News. Y'all, there's so much going on. It's absolutely crazy. So before I get into the heavier stuff, let me start out with some of the what the heck stories that I've seen today. A funny thing is, I was joking about the whole citizens arrest thing a few videos ago. And then lo and behold, I don't know what's in the water, what's in the air, what's just going around, but there's been a bunch of people trying to make citizens arrest this week. So let me start out with this video. This is a video of a guy in Canada. Yes, the same Canada that all of y'all are going to be running to when Trump got in office. Yes, that same Canada, because I've told you that you can't escape racism and bigotry no matter where you go. It's in every country, every city, every continent. But anyway, there's a white guy in the grocery store who feels that this Arab man that's in the store is an illegal alien and is Muslim, and so he feels that he needs to quarantine this guy in the grocery store. He needs to go ahead and make a citizen's arrest and stop him from leaving the store until the police get there. He's just going to hold him down, or he's going to, just hold him there. So here's the video.
Let's go. He can't make a citizen's arrest.
But he can assault me, right?
But then you call the police on him.
Would you call for me?
Yeah, let's go. Don't touch him. Why are you touching him?
Assaulting me. Call 911. Say it's an assault. No. I want to leave. Stop assaulting me. I want to leave.
Let's go. Let's go.
Stop.
Okay, you know what gets me about this video? It's not even the racism, it's not the xenophobia, it's not the bigotry, it's not the white fear. It's really the fact that this guy who's trying to make this arrest honestly thinks that he is justified in what he's doing. He honestly thinks that this is his duty. This guy really thinks he is in the right, and that his convictions are strong enough that they are telling him that this is what he needs to do. When you get people like that, that's when you need to be concerned. That's when people become dangerous. Fortunately, in this situation, nobody really got hurt, but we've seen what's happened before when people are afraid and they're ignorant at the same time. Because like I've said for the longest, race and ethnicity and things like that always bring an element of culture clash. And culture clash brings out an element of ignorance and fear. And fear always brings out elements of people doing crazy things that make no sense. And so in this video, you see the guy literally trying to stop him from moving. The guy goes one way, he goes the other way. That guy's better than me, because I don't know if you noticed, but in the back of the store in that corner to the right is a big old freezer, and I know that freezer had some bags of ice, because listen, if that would have been me and the old boy was not trying to let me out, the way I would have went to that freezer and grabbed a bag of ice and just whack! Like, listen, if you don't get your Gumby ass from by me, like, what? Your job was to go to that grocery store, get your little Mountain Dew and whatever else you eat, and be on your merry way. But you're in here really trying to regulate and stop people and infringe upon people's rights and in their personal space because you feel some kind of way based on some facts that are not backed by anything but your ignorance. That's a problem. You know what I mean? Like, I honestly don't get it. People are really losing it. And the thing is, I don't want to sound petty and sound crazy, but listen, I'm going to have to just start calling the police on white people about everything. Just to balance it out. No disrespect, no shade at all, but like, to be honest, there's too many of y'all doing that stuff to us. And anybody who's brown and this, that, and third. So listen, just to balance the things out, I'm just letting y'all know I'm going to start calling. So listen, the next time I go to the grocery store, if I see the little boy cutting up because the mom told him he got to get gluten-free cornflakes and he can't get Captain Crunch or Cinnamon Toast Crunch and he done knocked everything off the aisles, I'm calling the police on both of them. And they better bring the paddy wagon because the little boy's already a kicker. Okay, he likes to kick. Because they always lay on their back and then do that thing with their legs and kick. Nope, arrest them, officer. I'm starting to call the police. And I'm going to be real petty because I'm going to call the police on people I even see on TV. Like, every time I watch HGTV, that's when I want to call the police for real. Because the thing that gets me, I don't know if you've ever seen these shows, like the ones where they like flip the houses or they're trying to buy a house. They always have the most questionable careers and have the biggest budgets. Hi, I'm Florence, and I'm a professional fish feeder. So when people, if they've gone to work and they forgot to feed their pet goldfish, it's a startup that I created about 3 months ago. I go to their house, I give just a few bits of food to the fish, and then they pay me through my credit card through PayPal. And it's a startup I just started 3 months ago. And my husband Greg, he's a professional freelance birdhouse builder. And so our budget is $822,000, but we're willing to pay up to $1.1 million to find the perfect house. And I'll be like, what kind of drugs y'all doing? Because ain't no damn way that with them two careers that you got $800,000 sitting in the bank. Please tell me, unless that's some slave money, I'm calling the police. So I'm just letting you know, just to balance things out. No disrespect, it's not even me trying to be hateful, but I just gotta balance things out, because if y'all always talking about equality and y'all are allies, some of y'all need to be held accountable for some of the nonsense that y'all doing. So anyway, let me get to the next clip. somebody's really gonna take that seriously, and I know somebody's gonna be pissed off and write a really nasty comment about that. But they're really like, "How dare you!" But anyway, the next order of foolery. Here we go again with the coupons. So there's another clip of there's a black woman who's in the dollar store, Dollar General, Dollar Tree, the Family Dollar, whichever one it is. And she got her book of coupons and everything like that. And so the manager gets mad because he feels that she's used too many coupons in the dollar store. So he calls the police. So let's go to the video.
Just trying to take advantage of the system is what you're doing, and I don't have to do it if I don't want to.
But you just said you don't like people like me?
No, I said you're taking advantage of the system is what you're doing.
How
Okay,
am
I'm
I
trying to do the
taking-
best I can. You've already gotten $15 off of these products, okay? And you're trying to play games with the digital coupons, and it's not going to work.
I'm not playing games.
You
It's
are playing
$5.
games.
It's $5
Okay,
off a
well,
$30 purchase.
We're done.
But you
I'm
just
giving
said,
you my boss's number. She can fix it from here, okay? 'Cause
Okay,
I'm really done with you.
Okay.
I'm tired of the attitude, and I'm tired of the nonsense.
And I've actually been extremely nice
No, you
to
haven't.
you. I haven't.
Whatever.
Been
You know what?
rude.
Like I said, we're done talking.
Okay, Ken.
You can get dispatched to the police if possible.
Okay, so now he's calling the police, which is fine.
Black female, green shirt, blue skirt.
It's
She's
black.
registered too right now.
It's actually a black skirt.
I don't want to engage her any longer.
Yes, I'm open, honey. Just give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Yeah, she's videotaping us without our permission. So no, she's at the other register with me.
You see what I'm talking about? Now, listen, I don't know if this guy is cousins with the guy from the other video, the other coupon, Carl, but when I tell you that people are just miserable, some people are just some miserable people. Their whole existence is just miserable. Like, how can you be mad that somebody came to the dollar store with some coupons and used them? You know what I mean? I know it is kind of like, dang, you really got to use coupons at the dollar store. But listen, if I had coupons for the dollar store, I'd be right in there too, swiping them up. And the part that gets me is the guy's like, you're rigging the system. You've already used $15. And if I got 100, we gonna use it. Now ring it up. Like, what are you doing? And even the verbiage they use. What do you mean you rigging the system? You see how they just have verbiage and phrases that are low-key directed specifically for black people, specifically for minorities, specifically for people who are poor. That's what they always do, rigging the system. At the dollar store, really? The dollar store in itself is already a rigged system. Literally, any kind of dollar store pretty much just gets all of their merchandise from stuff that wasn't sold at other stores. So it's already leftovers anyway, and then they charge people for it. So if you want to talk about rigging a system, boom, right there. They didn't have to pay wholesale price for anything at top-notch dollar. They got it at a discount, and then they still gonna sell it to somebody else. So what are you talking about rigging the system? And I think what that's about, that's more so about people who feel entitled. And when I say entitled, I mean they feel entitled, and when they see somebody else who they think doesn't belong in the same space as them, doesn't belong in the same realm of success or the environment as them, and they see them that they may be doing something that makes them seem above the edge or more successful than them, then automatically they must do something to infringe upon those rights. They must do something to kind of push them back down and remind them of their place because they're up here and they believe the other person needs to stay down there. That's what that's about. Because anybody who's that pressed about somebody using some coupons in a dollar store and calls the police, when in reality you have an entire TV show called what, Extreme Couponing or some crap like that, where people go and they have whole books of coupons and they go to the grocery store and they get like $1,200 worth of groceries and they ended up spending $8 because they held the line up for 3 hours ringing up all that stuff. And mind you, half the stuff they get is stuff they don't even need. They got 30 light bulbs, 15 boxes of wire, a bag of sand, just anything just because it's on sale. And so it's funny how people can, things like that, people can have a whole career off of. People like that can get a whole 15 minutes of fame. It can be an entire TV show that makes a network millions of dollars. But then when somebody goes and does literally the same thing in their own extent, it's a problem. You want to call the police. If you don't get somewhere, goodness. That's funny. The dollar store. You regulating in the dollar store. Calm down. And that's no disrespect to the dollar store. Listen, there's a dollar store literally right by my community center. Like when we need to get some last minute plates or cups and stuff, the way we run in there all the time, like they know us by face. But goodness, you can't be that miserable as a person. You just honestly can't. I can't. And he really... You've already been rigging the system. I wish I would have been in there. I swear, people really think that... especially like black people think that black people, if they're in any kind of program or system, we just all rigging it, okay? They just assume that anybody who's on Snap or anything like that, they just eating lobster tail every day. And if they want to eat lobster tail and that's what's in their program, let them eat it. Mind your business. People, like, I think we need to start giving out mind your business awards. When you see somebody who knows how to mind their business, you give them a certificate of appreciation. Just because I don't know what is in the water. But this year, people have lost it. I have seen the police called on literally everything. Eventually, somebody's going to call the police on somebody who's at their own funeral. You know, I don't know. They're just in their casket. I don't know. They just look suspicious. They look suspicious. I don't know. Just send somebody down here. I know they're dead. Yeah, I know they're dead. Yes, they are dead. I know, but send somebody down here anyway. I'm not sure. I don't know if the clothes that they're wearing were purchased or if they were stolen. I just want somebody to just come and check. Like, what y'all going through? My God. And then have you seen this nonsense with this Georgia senator or state, whatever he is? Let's go to this one too.
All you damn sand niggers over in the Middle East, we are tired of you coming to America, and we are tired of you trying to threaten us. We will cut off your dick. You understand? We will take your dick and we will shove it in your mouth, pull it off, put it in your mouth. How are you going to rape children and women without a dick? I'm Jason Spencer. I'm an elected official in the state of Georgia. I'm a state representative member of the Georgia General Assembly.
You see, these are the people y'all got in office. These are the people y'all have calling the shots. And you wonder why we're in a bunch of chaos now. Okay, like, I'm not even going to comment on it. I'm going to just say, again, these are the people y'all have in office. Do something about it. Anyway, I want to get to something more serious. I want to talk about this Nia Wilson situation. I don't know if you've seen the story, but this takes place in Oakland on the Bird train. And Nia Wilson, the young black lady, and her sister, you know, they're minding their business, living their best life. You know, just gonna take the train, gonna do some whatever they do for the day. Some crazy dude. I'm not even gonna give a description. You already know who I'm talking about or what he looks like, and most likely what he is based on the description of what I'm about to say he did. Comes and just randomly stabs him, slits the girl's throat, stabs the other sister. Fortunately, the sister survives, but Nia Wilson did not. And, you know, there was like a whole manhunt for this guy all day. The good thing is social media is really quick. And they were able to kind of get his description out there, and the police were able to, you know, bring him on in. It's interesting that, you know, he was pretty much walked into the police station and just, you know, brought in nicely. But, you know, sometimes when it's some of us, we just get shot in the back 30 times and dragged in for running through a red light. But that's another conversation. But, you know, with that, I honestly, when I tell you people are just crazy, and you literally have to be careful everywhere you go these days. And with that killing, people are trying to say it's not racially motivated. It's just because of mental illness. I'm like, listen, y'all are starting to use a lot of mental illness to justify racism. You can have mental illness and be racist at the same time. That's even more dangerous, okay? Because literally, in my honest opinion, I think every person that we've talked about so far has a mental illness on top of their racism. But with that, it's like you just have to be careful. And the thing about it is, I think for a lot of people who really do have those racist ideologies about other groups of people, when they see other groups of people who they feel are beneath them, enjoying themselves, living their best life, just in a good space, and they personally don't feel the same way about their experience, they want to take that away from that other person. And so they go and do things like stab those two random girls. Like he didn't even know those two. There was no interaction. There was nothing. He just went and did that. That's absolutely crazy. Of all the people in that platform, those are the two he picked out. Now, I'm not saying he should have went and stabbed anybody else, so don't take it that way. But I'm just saying, look at what's going on. And I think it's black people in America. Black people have to be very cautious of just what's going on. We're now in an age where hate crimes have quadrupled since your current president got into office. There's so many different things that are going on. You know, the laws have been lifted when it comes to regulation about the police, which, and mind you, there might have been all of 1.5 laws to begin with, but literally it's a free-for-all with some of these police that can just go and do whatever they want. You have all these policies and these laws that are going on. You have millions of black people who are being pushed out of the voter rolls. So it will be interesting to see what happens in November, because a lot of people are registered to vote and don't even know that they're going to have to re-register because they've been purged from the lists. Like, there's a lot going on. I don't understand why there's so much animosity towards black people, when in reality, black people, we have absolutely nothing. But I think what it is because we're such a resilient demographic of people, and even when we're put in the worst of situations, we always find a way to make good out of anything. Like, we know how to struggle. You know what I mean? We know how to make it if we don't have any money. We know how to stretch a meal. We know how to just make things work. You know, like, one thing, when the economy crashed in 07, 08, it wasn't us jumping out of windows, because we already ain't had nothing to begin with. We were just fine. You know what I mean? A lot of us lost our jobs. A lot of us, like, hell, I was unemployed for a full year and a half coming fresh out of college because I got out of school at the peak of the recession. But it's like, we somehow find a way to bounce back. We somehow find a way to find a good in everything and still have a smile every day. And I think that pisses people off. They want to see us be miserable because they're miserable. And so even though we're miserable, but we found ways, because I think black people, we like to use laughter as therapy. We love to find a way. We will find the funny in any and everything. Like, literally, my family, the funniest thing is we will find a way to make jokes at a funeral. We will be at a funeral and they're just cracking up. Mind you, we sad because so-and-so died, but we in the back cracking up. Who? Why? But, you know, that's how we deal with things. And I think that makes some people just lose their minds. They can't understand and fathom how people who've been just treated so badly and people who just, you know, have all these different things going on can still smile every day. And I think with that guy, he just saw two pretty young black girls, probably gorgeous, on the train having a good time. I don't know what was going on in his life, but he was miserable. He wanted somebody to feel his pain. And I think in that situation, you know, you just have to be very careful with the people that are around you. That's why I'm like, you just got to always keep an eye out. And I think what's dangerous with us as a community is that we are so accommodating and we welcome anybody with open arms, no ifs, ands, or buts, every single time. And sometimes those people burn and bite us. You know, I just always think of that church in South Carolina. And, you know, that guy, he went to that church and, you know, they welcomed him and did Bible study. He done prayed with these people. They done sang and had a whole service. And what he do? Shoot up everybody when it was over. So people got to be careful because everybody is not in their right mind right now. I don't know what's in the water. I don't know what's floating around, but people are losing it. So people have to be really careful. So, you know, thoughts and prayers to Neil Wilson's family. It's been a really sad week for a lot of families, especially I'm still thinking about the Tia Coleman lady and you know, with her losing all that family. That's been on my mind heavy all week. Like, that is, whew. But, you know, for that young lady, she was only 18. She didn't even get to live yet. You know, I'm gonna move on. That's crazy. It's upsetting as well. And I think as a community, we have to be more protective of each other. We have to, when we see things. Now, this is when you don't mind your business. This is when you see some nonsense going on. This is when you step in, okay? The whole idea of learning to mind your business is if somebody is not doing anything to hurt or put danger to anyone, mind your business and let them go and do whatever it is they're doing, okay? Are you really going to tackle somebody because they were jaywalking as opposed to sitting quietly as you see somebody get stabbed? But, okay, R. Kelly. Can we get to R. Kelly? 19 minutes of a song where he is pretty much, I guess he's pouring his heart out. Now, I'm not going to lie. I didn't listen to it because, one, my 20s are almost past me, and each moment is precious because my youth is almost gone, so I don't have 19 minutes to sit and listen to his song about him singing about things that we already knew. So, with the R. Kelly situation, I'll just say this, and I'm going to look at two sides, and not a side that's giving justification to anything he's doing, so don't take it that way. But in the song, from what I read, he does talk about being molested, and he talks about things. And I've seen a lot of people say, okay, well, now it makes sense. And my question is, what makes sense? If you're giving justification to his actions by saying, you know, it was okay for him to do that because he was molested, it's not. You know, there are a ton of people who deal with that, who didn't go out and do the same thing. Now, if you want to give an answer or a solution to R. Kelly, I think with R. Kelly, I think he needs help. He needs some kind of therapy, some counseling, this, that, and the third. Like, he needs people in his corner that can help him to make better decisions because he has too many yes people around him. I don't know what his vision or his goal was by releasing that song and singing about all of that, but you can't erase a questionable history with a song. It doesn't work that way. Okay? It reminds me of that clip. I don't know if you ever saw it. It was on one. It was somebody, he was going to jail for something, so he decided to sing to the judge. I was like, no, we can't sing our way out of everything. We can't sing and dance our way out of everything, okay? I told y'all, we got to stop suffering from Soul Train syndrome. Like, that's slowing us down all the time. That gets us caught up. It's the same thing come election season. I can guarantee you it's going to be a ton of politicians that's going to go on all these different media outlets, and they're going to be doing the Dougie, and they're going to hit the folks, and they're going to be doing the Live It Up challenge and everything else like that, or Level Up challenge, my bad, and this, that, and the third, you know, trying to pander to the black vote, because sometimes with us, all it takes is a good two-step, and we in this. But with R. Kelly situation, because I do, to an extent, I feel bad for the guy, but at the same time, it's like you still have to be held accountable for things that you've done. And I'm only speaking on the video. I can't speak for anything else that's been alleged because I haven't been there, but I know for sure that video exists. So in that realm, we know at least there's a video. And we also know that he was once married to a 15-year-old girl. I don't care how much you love his music, because I love the guy's music. Like, listen, R. Kelly makes classics. He has a wonderful catalog. I think he was a musical genius. But that doesn't take away from the fact that some of his actions have negatively affected other people. And some people try to justify the video and say, well, the girl didn't want to participate in the court case. I'm like, the girl was like 14. You're going to put a 14-year-old girl on the stand and she has to go in front of the world and talk about what she did with a celebrity just for her to be vilified and looked at. Oh, she's a harlot, she's a hoe, she did it, she knew what she was doing. And yes, we understand that when girls hit that age, physically they're ready to do certain things, but mentally they're still little girls. They may have the physical, body parts and the hormones and stuff are there, but they're thinking like a little girl. They're still young teenagers. They're not, and at the time, I don't know how old R. Kelly was. I'm going to say he was probably in either his really late 20s or early 30s when that video took place, or when he shot the video at least. But the thing is, even if the girl did it, it's not, the burden was not on her. You know what I mean? And so I don't want to turn this into a bash R. Kelly session, but this is bigger than R. Kelly, because this is one of the things that we have as an issue within our community is we like to stay silent on things. That's why all of us got that uncle that can't be in the same room with some of the other kids. We all got that relative that you can't invite to nothing. They get to come to one holiday function because they're crazy or they're dangerous. So they get to come to one Easter, and that's only Easter because we're going to go to church and you can sit in church, and then he or she doesn't get invited to dinner. Like, that's literally a lot of people's experiences. So with R. Kelly, I'm concerned about the guy's mental state as well, because I think he's dealt with a lot as far as the kids. He hasn't talked to his kids in years. He's talking about how he can't read and this, that, and the third. And with all of that, I have the empathy. I can empathize. I understand. But I just think he needs a good person in his corner that can direct him in the right way. And to be honest, he's already gotten away with not going to jail. So now that they didn't let you skip out, you need to use some common sense and stay out of trouble. Use some common sense. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because I think, and I've said this before, because I swear this is my last R. Kelly video, because I don't like really doing this many videos on this guy. But I said this a few videos ago when I said that I thought when the video first came out that was a rap. But, he dropped Ignition and everybody's just like, oh, okay. And I'm not going to lie, because that happened in 8th grade. And I remember I was like, oh, I guess everybody's done with R. Kelly, huh? We were at the school dance, Ignition came on, the way everybody ran to the floor. I was like, huh? And listen, I'm not gonna lie, because when Step in the Name of Love came out, that's my song. But I don't know. You gotta hold people accountable. You want to be pro-black, you need to understand that if somebody's doing something that hurts people in your community, you still have to hold them accountable, no matter how much you love them. But the thing about being pro-black is also making sure that you hold people accountable and that everything is always progressive and it's for the well-being of the collective as a whole. If we let a bunch of, because here's the thing, you can say what you want about R. Kelly being a musical genius, and I'm maybe just a hater, but if it was your 15-year-old cousin or your 15-year-old sister or your 15-year-old daughter, how would you feel? You know what I mean? We just can't let people slide because they make good music or they're a good actor or they're a good athlete. And I'm not going to sit here and jump on the Me Too movement and all the other stuff. I'm just saying what I've seen. Moving on. The last thing I want to talk about, Demi Lovato. That was very interesting. I don't know if you've seen it. I was reading that she overdosed. And I'm going to say this. I think, one, Hollywood and the music industry is already toxic enough. And I think when people have substance abuse problems, that's the worst environment for people like that to be in. I've always kind of respected Demi Lovato a little bit, mainly because she's always been upfront about her issues with drugs. But the thing I've also learned with people who are addicts is it's very hard to stay clean or stay sober. Not even that, but when you get sober, it's more dangerous to relapse when you've been clean for a long time. Because a lot of people who end up using, when they clean up, you got to remember, when people become addicts and they've gotten to the point where they're like, I have to go to rehab, I have to clean up, their body has such a high tolerance for whatever drug it is that they're using. And a lot of people who relapse or go back, when they go back to that drug, they think that they can go back and take the same amount that they were once using before they relapse. And they've forgotten that their tolerance is going back down because their body, that homeostasis, it's going back to its state of what it was before they were a drug addict. And so a lot of people who end up trying to, who relapse and get that first or second batch, they overdose. Their body can't even handle the amount of drugs that they're doing or that they try to take. Their body was able to do it some years earlier when they were doing that mess every day, every week, because their body had built up a tolerance. It had built up a dependency. It was chemically within their blood system all the time, so their body was just used to it to the point where they couldn't function without it. Once you get clean, and you've been clean for years, you go back and try to get that same high from years before, that concoction of whatever you've taken is so much more lethal than the first time. We did it. So it's with her, I don't know. That's absolutely crazy. And I feel bad because it sucks that it's out in the public like that. That's the worst thing when you got to deal with your demons in public. Everybody judges you. And you know, Kevin Kesselake is this movie director that did a really great documentary. I covered it when I covered Tribeca Film Festival, I think in 2016. It was about DJ AM. He was the guy. He was in the plane crash with Travis Scott from Blink 182 and survived. And so he had already had a drug issue or a drug problem, and then he had cleaned himself up. Remember, he had like a show on MTV, and he was trying to help other people get clean. And then they actually found him dead in his apartment some years later because he relapsed. And I think what happened to him is exactly what happened to Demi Lovato, but the difference was he didn't get to survive. And so that's why it's kind of like, you know, it's not our place to judge people who have addictions, because I saw some people saying, you know, addiction's a choice, blah, 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 blah. You know, you're making that choice once you go and you take those drugs. And I will say there are people who make foolish decisions, but when it comes to drugs, most addicts didn't plan on being addicts. And I think a lot of times, one, you have the case of people who get their stuff laced on accident. Somebody laces their drink, somebody laced their weed or whatever they did. Now they're hooked on something, their brain is fried, they're never the same again. Then you have the people who, they got whatever they're dealing with, they think drugs are the option. I'm not trying to give justification, but I see in this day and age, and as people as crazy are, I see why people are turning to drugs. I don't think it's the wise thing to do, but the thing with drugs is like, for some people, it takes them away from their problems. It puts them in a space where, at least for that 10 minutes, for that 10-minute high, they are in a space where they feel no pain, they feel no stress, they feel no anything. And so people resort to drugs to do, you know, those drugs keep them in that space. And so I think the government needs to put more funding into managing that. But I'm going to say this at the same time. I think it's also some BS that now all of a sudden with the opioid problem, y'all want to be concerned. But you let black people suffer through the crack era for all of the 80s when y'all put the crack in. You know what I mean? The government planted that in the cities. And they vilified all those people, locked all those people up, mandatory minimum sentences, this, that, and the day. And now guess what? Because the narrative was always that only black people did drugs. It was black people that did everything. Black people were crackheads. We were dangerous. We did everything. And now it's like, look who are all the people falling out. Look at the opioid crisis. It's not us. It's y'all. And so now it's hit your community. And now y'all want to roll out the red carpet and put out all these different programs and stuff. And I'm like, you know what? It's good. Put that out because, listen, drugs are drugs. A human is a human. But at the same time, all of these black people who are currently in jail for mandatory minimum sentences and this, that, and the third, rather than locking them up, you should have put them in the same rehabilitation programs that you're going to put all these people in. You know what I mean? I think there has to be a level of empathy for people who are dealing with substance abuse problems, but the solution is not locking everybody up. The solution is putting people in rehabilitation programs and actually funding them. And unfortunately, within the black community, there's not enough of that in our neighborhoods. It's only for, like, Demi Lovato's going to go to some nice little rich people spot and she'll be fine. But it is what it is. I just, you know, so hopefully she'll be okay. I don't know if she's still on tour or not. But like I said, I've always appreciated that she was transparent about her struggles, because she'd been clean for a really long time. And maybe a month or two ago, she had said that, you know, she had messed up and she was trying to clean herself back up. And so, you know, kudos to her. But, you know, her narrative is not the only one. That's the narrative for so many people right now. It's absolutely crazy how, and the thing about it, so many millennials are on drugs. Crazy. Like, and I mean, and college students, the Xanax and the cocaine, I'm like, y'all, I don't remember seeing none of this when I was in college, but I guess I was just in another planet. But absolutely crazy. So prayers to Nia Wilson's family with the girl that got stabbed and her sister, and goodness, and again to Tia Coleman and Demi Lovato and everybody who's going through something. And with the R. Kelly situation, I don't know. I just think he needs better people around him. And he needs to, y'all have already let him skate a couple times. He don't need to skate no more, okay? Because he's going to skate until let me stop. All right, that's it. I'm out. Subscribe.